Hey crafty friends, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps, and today I created a little postage themed floral card for you and gave it just a little bit of distressing. I'm going to show you the frames that I'm going to be using are from the Sending Christmas Joy stamp and coordinating die. I am going to use the sentiment in this stamp set, but I want to use these dies. That larger die has the postage edge shape to it, and I thought that would be really pretty for this card. So I have that die cut, and then I'm going to be using the Dogwood Blooms 3D embossing folder. I want to give this card some texture, and I love this on white cardstock. I think white backgrounds can be really stunning, especially if you add some texture to it. So that's going to be our background. I'm going to ink blend a little bit of Tattered Rose Distress Oxide ink on my Magnolia flowers here. These are the Lovely Layers Magnolia, and I've die cut the leaves and the flowers in the center just from white cardstock. I want to add a little bit of color. I want my flower to be white, but I want to add a little bit of color. I also want to mention that second frame die, that smaller one, I'm going to die cut that from some craft cardstock, and we're going to add some stamping to that here in just a little bit. I am just using one of the Beeluxe blender brushes to add some of that color here at the base. Again, I did not want too much. I still wanted my flower to read white, but have just a little hint of something. And Tattered Rose is kind of a pinky coral to me, and I thought that would be perfect for this. Then the leaves are going to be, oh, what did I use the leaves? Oh no, this is the center, sorry. This is antique linen. The leaves are going to be old paper. And antique linen, I'm going to go a little bit darker on that taller centerpiece and then a little bit lighter on the piece that is at the bottom. And then I'm going to take a regular just blender brush, small blender brush, and blend on the old paper. Still keeping maybe some of the white edges a little bit lighter, giving it some visual interest by not having it just one solid color. And I love how these leaves turned out. So basically our colors are going to be white, craft cardstock, and then a little bit of this green. I'm also going to be using frayed burlap for some of our stamping. I thought that was a really pretty addition to bring into the color palette here, but really super simple, but really, really pretty. And of course, Lovely Layers flowers are just stunning from Honeybee. So let's finish up this last leaf here. And then here is that small piece, and I'm going to be using the Postmarked stamp set, just an acrylic block and the frayed burlap Distress Oxide ink, but you could use any color ink that you wanted. And I'm just going to stamp some of the images. Again, this is the piece that was die cut from that smaller rectangle from the Sending Christmas Joy die set. And again, this is going to be a postage themed, just slightly. It's not overly postage, but it has some postage elements, and I really liked how it turned out. I think it is, I don't know, just really, really pretty. So let's get a few more of these images. And I knew my flower was going to go in the center, so I really wasn't super worried about stamping too much in the center, more around the edges, because I would see some of that. Let's add this last little guy. And then I'm going to stamp some images on craft cardstock that I am going to die cut out. So I've got a couple of the little stamps, one that's like the 5-cent, one that looks like it literally has a magnolia flower on it. The little bee, one of the little circles. I did stamp the special delivery, and I even die cut it, but it did not make it onto the card design. I didn't find a place for it that I loved, so I just left it out. So I will use the coordinating dies for these guys. Let me grab a couple more of those images. So again, the little bee, which I think is really cute, but there's a lot of really cute images and really pretty images in this. And I wanted to bring some of those little postage elements into the card. So here are those coordinating dies. I'm going to tape those in place and run that through my die cut machine. And then I want to stamp my sentiment. I think that's what I do next. Yes. So on craft cardstock, I am using the sentiment from the Sending Christmas Joy, and it actually says love you. There's a few sentiments in there that aren't Christmassy, and you could get away with it not being a Christmas card by using that stamp and die. But I really love tiny sentiments. They're really pretty to me. So I'm going to do some white heat embossing so it stands out different than the other images that we stamped on the craft cardstock. So I prepped it with my anti-static powder tool, inked it up with clear ink, sprinkled on my embossing powder, and then heated that with my heat tool, and I used the coordinating sentiment die for that. I'm going to rough up the edges of my magnolia flower here. I want it to feel a little tattered, just a little bit. And I have to say, it came out beautiful. It's such a stunning flower when it's all put together. I love how it came out. So we're just going to do that really quickly around the edges with some scissors. I'm not doing it on the leaves, just the flower. And then we can start gluing this together. So I'm going to add just a little bit of liquid glue right in the center because I am going to bend up the leaves. Normally I just lift them up, but today I'm going to take the end of a blender brush and kind of curve them in different ways, and it came out really pretty. I like how they looked. Let's get this center on into our magnolia. Such a pretty flower. This is a paintbrush. I'm going to grab the larger blender brush here though. And then I'm just going to lightly bend, and then I'll bend a little bit on the edges, a little bit at a diagonal on some of the pieces, just getting it to where it has some dimension. And you don't even have to add foam adhesive, although you could, and that would be really, really pretty. But that looks so lovely. It just looks like the natural curl of the flower. Let's get our card put together. I'm going to adhere this to an A2 size piece of craft cardstock, which then also will be adhered to an A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I am adding 1 millimeter foam adhesive behind our stamped background, and I did take the scissors to that as well. I don't know if I showed that. And then we're going to place the flower right in the center and then just kind of build out from there. I'm going to cover up most of this background, but not all. I kind of wanted to see it top and bottom. And look at how pretty those leaves are, because I did the same thing with those. I used that blender tool just to bend up the edges. And I'm going to start here, but I'm going to add another leaf. I'm just trying to get a quick idea of where I might want some things. So we're going to have 5 leaves on here. I'm deciding where I want that love you. I think I'm going to put that right up here at the top. I think that will stand out nicely. And it's going to stand out too because we did the white heat embossing on it. I've glued everything down. I glued the leaves, or I'm going to glue the leaves. There's the sentiments. I just added some glue and tucked them right back in, liquid glue right at the base so they don't lay completely flat. We're going to have our little bee up here on the leaf. I added 2 millimeter foam adhesive behind the bee. I'm going to glue these 2 little stamps together, and then I'm going to add some foam adhesive with that and kind of tuck them, well, kind of on top of, not really tucked in, but nestled in, I guess is the word I want to use. Just adding a few, again, of these postmarked or postage elements, which I think is really pretty. I really wanted to use that special delivery, but I just couldn't find a place that I loved. So I just ixnayed that, and he's just not going to be in there. So I'm going to add this little piece here. I'm going to do a little bit of foam adhesive and a little bit of liquid glue. And I think I like that spot there. And then I brought in the Winter Wonder gem stickers because they have this solid white. It's kind of a matte white, which I thought was perfect for this. I really didn't want anything shiny on this card. So we're going to add a few of those at the bottom and the top here. I need to get more of these because I'm running out of the sizes all the sizes. I don't have many left of this white one, but it's so pretty. Let's take a look at this up close. I just think it turned out so lovely. I love how soft and pretty it is, and a little bit distressed and postage themed. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you feel inspired, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.